Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, it's the Ramble. I'm Alex, and this goes from now until midnight on the East Coast of the United States. That's Eastern Time. Ladies and gentlemen, that face you see in front of you is that of Stephen Pearl, who usually I used to call at 1 o'clock my time.
It's Kravitz.
What'd I say?
Stephen Pearl.
Oh, you're not Stephen Pearl?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I meant to call Stephen Pearl. Damn it. Anyway, how are you?
I'm good now that you got my name right.
Oh, God. I wake up, and I just woke up a couple hours ago, and I'm loopy. I'm loopy.
You're loopy every time I talk to you.
Yeah, I'm loopy.
You're used to it. It's your natural state.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so I used to call you at 1 o'clock my time, 10 o'clock your time.
That's correct.
But now you're living on the East Coast, so now I'm calling you at the same time as my time.
That is correct again. That's
Yes.
2 for 2, mister.
Yeah, so I got that straight. Okay, anyway. Coffee. Got to drink coffee. Do you do coffee?
That's a big mug of coffee.
I know. And I had a stomach ache today. It's been a great day. When you wake up in the morning with a stomach ache, you go, "Gonna be a good day. Gonna be a good day."
Yeah, sure.
You know what it is? I gotta tell you, you're not this old yet. Okay, you're getting there. You're what? How old again?
64.
64. Okay.
All bets are off.
As you get older, just it's one thing after another. You know, and it's not like I've got anything that's life-threatening.
Right.
Right? It's like I got neuropathy in my feet, so my feet are numb, and then
Right.
I've got to go to the ear doctor because I'm lightheaded all the time because I think my ear is screwed up in some way. Yeah, just little things. These little things, and then you go to some other person for some other little thing, and before you know it, your whole social life is going to doctors.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah. So
And your whole life revolves around medication.
I mean, like our friend Stephen Pearl, who today you're Stephen Pearl. I can actually change. I have a thing on the screen that says Stephen Kravitz, right? But I can change it to Stephen Pearl if you're not careful with me, Mister.
All right.
Okay.
I can think of worse things to turn into. Pearl's a good friend. Pearl's a good friend of both mine and yours.
You know who I was talking to yesterday?
No.
Will Durst.
Oh, he's good?
No. I mean, listen, he's good because he's still above room temperature.
Right.
And he can talk fine.
Right.
His sense of humor is still there.
Sure.
But he just can't walk. One of his legs is gimpy.
Not functioning.
He says he can do it with a walker now. They're doing,
really?
They're doing intensive, physical therapy for him.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just, when I'm talking to him, I don't even mention my health. I mean,
Right. We got nothing to complain about.
Nothing compares to a stroke,
No. Especially a massive stroke.
And we can all get a stroke. That's the strange thing. I mean, you could get one tomorrow. And
Thanks so much. Thanks for putting that on me. I
I
really appreciate that.
Look at you. You're fine.
Yeah, I'm fine.
And Will was fine too. And then all of a sudden, massive headache, collapses before he goes on stage. Next thing he knows, he wakes up in a hospital and he's...
That was over a year ago now.
Over a year ago. And,
Right.
and Debbie told me, well, you can call him if you got his email address. So I called him on FaceTime. And there he was. And we talked for about a half hour. He didn't want to get off because he's got nothing else to do,
That's right.
That was a big thing for him. But his humor is still there, right? So the chops are still there. Even the timing was still there.
Of course.
So, well, not of course. I mean, with a stroke, you could lose all that.
Right.
Luckily, it got his leg rather than his head, rather than his speaking. And so, I think that's kind of a plus for him.
Right. I know he doesn't. He's a big writer, as we both know, but he doesn't want to write because his left hand is not working real well.
He's got a problem, and I was talking to Debbie, and I said, well, he can always dictate it.
Right.
We have these programs now. I mean, when I send people texts, I don't type it out. I just talk it into my phone.
Right. You hit the little microphone icon.
So, I mean, they're very accurate voice dictation programs. And he could do that, but he doesn't. According to Debbie, he doesn't want to do that. He likes the physical action of typing.
Right.
But
Right.
if your only outlet to get your word out is to dictate it, then I guess
do it.
Go ahead, do it.
Right.
But he's stubborn.
No, really.
Yeah. So anyway, but he was lying there in bed, and he's at a rehab center.
Right.
And
Right. Like Debbie told me, he's getting better just very slowly.
Yes. Yeah. It's a very.
Everybody wants him to get better yesterday.
You know what can happen with these things? I've talked to people who are into this sort of thing, who know all about this. I have a friend, for instance, who had a stroke. And he still has problems to this day, but he walks and goes on vacation, and he's alert, and he can talk to us. He's got a little speaking problem,
Right.
but not much. So what can happen is he can be the way he is today, and a year from now be walking and everything's fine. Or
Sure.
he could still be in the same shape.
Right. You don't know how far the recovery he's going to get to.
Yeah, I mean, it that's the horrible, ugly thing about strokes, is that they're unpredictable.
Right.
Imagine-
Like you said,
Yeah.
me and you could both be fine 1 minute, next minute, we're on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of all the people for it to happen to, I mean, nicest guy in the world. I mean, geez. But Debbie's there for him. She's a gem.
Oh, she's amazing. She
Yeah.
is amazing.
In fact, I've started having her on the program now because
Why not?
She's as funny as he is.
Maybe one of the funniest people on the planet.
Well, I mentioned to her, Debbie is Will Durst's wife, ladies and gentlemen. And if those of you who watch this program on a regular basis know who Will Durst is, okay?
Sure.
But I told her, I said, when I did this interview with her, which was about, I don't know, lasted 35, 40 minutes, something like that. It's more than I normally do with anybody.
Right.
And but it was just so interesting, and she's so good that I kept it going. And I said to her, this is the most I've ever talked to you at one time in our entire lives.
Right.
Because
Well, we've only known her since the early 80s.
yeah, but my pal was Will,
Right.
and if you have a pal, you know this to be, and every guy knows this to be. If you have a pal, and he's got a wife, yeah, you respect her, and hey, how you doing, Sue? How you
Right.
doing, Dolores, or whatever your name is?
Sure.
Nice, good to see you again. Hey, by the way, Will, blah 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 blah. You accept the woman they're with because they're your friend, but you don't
Sure.
make friends with them necessarily.
Not necessarily. I made friends with both of them.
Well, I mean, so I told her, I said, in all the time we've known each other, this is probably the longest I've spoken to you.
Right.
And now I feel guilty about that because I was missing out on a great treat because she's a gem.
Oh, yeah.
Yesterday on the phone call, he said, yeah, I heard you did an interview with her. He said, she's funnier than I am.
Oh, she's funny.
Yeah. She's
very
in
funny.
an entirely different way. I mean, his is a political comedy. It's, diatribes and essays and so on and so forth.
Sure.
And hers is just wacky. She's Debbie,
Right. The Queen of Improv.
The Queen of Improv, yeah. And I told her, I mentioned to her something. I think you said to me either that or that other guy, Pearl, the guy I mistook you for.
The guy you mistook me for.
Said they were kind of the mom. Well, you said it, the mother and father, or the mom and dad of San Francisco comedy.
Absolutely, absolutely. I call them mom and dad.
Yeah, and she said, it's really quite true because we've never had any children, so our children are other comics.
That's right.
Who need our help and our advice.
That's like Will and Debbie are the only people on the planet I allow to call me Stevie.
Really, Stevie?
Easy, easy. I can always hang up. I can always hang up, mister.
Do you ever notice there are people that don't like to be called certain names? Okay?
Right.
Like, if you know a woman and her name is Susan,
right,
do not call her Susie.
Right.
Do not call her Sue.
No.
She's Susan.
You know what? It's how somebody introduces themselves to me. Like if somebody says, I say, hi, I'm Steve, and they go, hi, my name is Thomas. I call him Thomas. I don't call him Tommy. I don't call him Tom. I call him Thomas.
Right. Because that's it. Yeah.
Because that's the way they introduce themselves.
Right.
It's funny how many times I'll introduce myself as Steven, and people will immediately say, hi, Steve. And I'll think, what? You weren't listening.
Yeah, it's Steven.
Yes.
Now, why do you prefer Steven to Steve? I mean, I think it's much nicer to tell you the truth,
Well, because me and my brothers have always been Richard, Steven, and Stuart. Full names. We're not Stewie, we're not Richie or Dick or Dickie or, and it's Richard.
Well, so what did your parents call you?
Oh, Steven.
Yeah, okay. And it was also much more adamant when they were mad at you. Steven, don't do that.
Right, Stephen J. Stephen J. Kravitz, what are you doing?
Oh, man. Well, my parents, you know what they called me?
No.
Bolo.
Bolo?
Yeah. Until I was 8 years old, I thought my name was Bolo.
Why'd they call you Bolo?
Okay, here's the reason why. Jewish families name kids after who?
After a relative who has passed.
Yes.
And you use the first letter of that person's name. Like I'm named after my great-grandfather Samuel.
Oh, okay.
You take the S, and you come up with Stephen.
Many times
every child should have their own identity. We don't have juniors. We don't have seconds. I can't name a kid Stephen Kravitz second.
You're right. I don't know any Jewish kids named Junior.
No, it's not part of the culture.
Yeah, I never thought of that. Well, thank you. Here I am, 80 years old, and I just discovered something about being Jewish.
There you go.
Anyway, the other one was, of course, you get beaten up more often. But anyway, the Bolo, what happened was they were supposed to name me after a dead relative. Okay?
Right.
And the only dead relative we had was my father's brother, who died at like 21.
Wow.
I think from tuberculosis or something like that.
Wow.
And his name was Boleslav. And his nickname was Bolo.
Okay.
So they decided, well, we can't strap this kid with a name like Boleslav. He'll never get through life, in one piece,
Sure.
Right? So what they decided to do was to name me Bennett because they thought that was a very nice anglicized name. I mean, it's really really British. It's not even Jewish on any level.
Right.
And they were strapping me with a long enough name anyway for my second name, which was Schwarzman. So And the kid's nickname was Bolo, and so they called me Bolo.
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, they never called me Bennett. They never called me Ben, although later on, I guess I wanted to be called Ben.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Must have been a phase.
Well, Bennett's such a nice name, but no, it was a phase, yeah.
Sure.
But
my grandmother used to call me Stevedore.
Stevedore?
Right.
Oh, man. Yeah, no,
But then again, my grandmother, every refrigerator was a Frigidaire.
Right. Or or if worse, an ice box.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got to remember, my grandparents both lived to be over 100. So they went from horse and buggies to the car. They saw everything that happened.
Yeah.
They were born in the early part of the 20th century, and they passed away in the early part of the 21st century. So they saw every development, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I used to call it. Actually, my parents called it an ice box, and so
Really?
when I grew up, I call it. I think to this day I call it the ice box.
Really?
Yeah,
I may call it a Frigidaire.
yeah, yeah. But whatever. Hey,
Right.
listen. I'm looking, and we've run out of time.
Really?
Yeah, I mean not literally.
No, 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 no.
Just for this segment. But let's get together next week, okay?
You got it, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Kravitz playing Absolutely Nowhere and in
Because there's
Massachusetts.
nothing open.
Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, thank you very much, Stephen Pearl. Stephen Kravitz. He'll be with us next week. See, I got stuck in that Stephen Pearl thing. Too many Stevens on the show. Somebody's going to have to change their name. Hey, how are you? What's happening? It's Tuesday, right? Another week, another no dollar. Okay, another week of fun here on GabNet and on the Great American Broadcast Network and the Ramble. That's the name of this program. And let's see here. Do I have anything I want to say? I don't know if I have anything I really want to say. However, we are waiting. Usually Charlie is waiting online to talk to us, and then we're on. Everything's fine, but Charlie's not there. Nobody's there waiting on Zoom to talk to me. Well, okay. So I got the show all to myself now, and I have to ad lib. I see. Anyway, oh, here we go. Here we go. We're getting some people. Ah, good. All right. We'll go over. We'll go to our Zoom panel here. Let me admit two of them that are there. Let me see here. And let me see gallery view. And there we go. Hello, guys. How are you? Josh Wheeler. We don't normally see you on a Tuesday. Yeah. We usually see you on Friday.
Not usually, but I have to. I switched to nights working for the couple days this week for our yearly physical inventory. So
Okay.
I'm technically off tonight, going tomorrow night. Should be back off by Friday night. So.
Yeah. Oh, and here comes Charlie Wallace. I wonder where Charlie
free
was.
night.
He's usually. So you got a free night tonight, so you decided to spend it with us.
Yeah. So if you like me, you're really excited.
That shows you what a dull.
Can't stand me, and you got to listen to me twice in 1 week.
It shows you what a dull life you have. You have the first thing you thought of doing when you had a night off was call us. You know.
Yeah. I was pretty excited.
My eyes are tearing a little bit tonight.
Posted all my friends.
Hello to Jeff, and hello to Charlie, and hello to Brian, and hello to all of you. How are you this evening?
Good.
So what's happening in the world? Anything? You know,
I can give you an update.
What?
I'll give you a little update.
A little update on what?
Well, over the weekend we took a walk, and actually a car ride.
Wait a minute. What's that like?
It's like amazing. Remember this?
Yeah.
You get in a car and you just drive anywhere.
Really? Is that one of those things with wheels on it? I think they call it the horseless carriage, don't they?
A train and whatever.
Yeah, horseless carriage.
Subway and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. We actually own the car.
Oh, really? Okay. Do you still drive, by the way?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. I haven't driven. I'd mentioned to Stephen that it's been so long. I think it's in the next show that we play next week. It's been so long since I haven't driven that I wonder if I can drive anymore. Yeah. You know? I guess I can. Somebody said, once you know how to drive, you know how to drive. Well, they said that about bicycles, and I keep falling off of them whenever I get on them now. So, you know. But
so anyway, we took this ride around and went up north, so to speak. And all of a sudden, I see this bridge. That's an old bridge. and yet it's like it's made out of iron, cast iron.
Mm-hmm.
And I go over there, I find that the bridge really doesn't work anymore. Nobody goes over it, and it was built in the 1880s.
Really?
Yeah.
And nobody goes over it anymore. I mean, it's blocked
Well, it
off.
never had cars. There were no cars then.
But was it blocked off?
It was, yeah, it's closed off.
Oh, okay.
But it was originally for getting horses and cows and stuff like that, and people.
Wow. Well, we may go back to that soon, the way things are going.
Why not?
You know.
Well, if you re-elect Trump, he'll get you a new bridge.
Yeah.
Sure he will.
Oh man.
I know I don't need Trump.
Yeah. No, we don't. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks, folks.
Yeah, but remember, how you guys know this? Like, assume that he doesn't win. How long does he stay in that job before he leaves?
Till the 20th, till inauguration
20th
day.
of January?
January, yeah.
Uh-huh.
In the meantime, he can totally fuck up the country if he wants to.
Yeah.
You know, that's the problem. That's what I'm
He
worried
might just
about.
move to Russia.
Well, he says that if he loses, he's moving out of the country. So I figure there are 2 reasons to vote for him. You know, but he was telling somebody, you know, I lose to the worst candidate of all time, Joe Biden. You know what he's doing? It's kind of interesting. He just figures everybody wants to hear him do his greatest hits. You know, so it's lock him up instead of lock her up, right? I want to investigate these guys, and then he goes after everybody who doesn't agree with him. I mean, he's going after Fauci. Okay? How do you go after maybe the nicest, sweetest man in America and expect to win that fight?
So yeah, he's a good friend of my ex-wife's boss, and she used to talk to him quite often.
Yeah.
And she says, "What the nicest person that you've ever met? He's
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah, smart and a
Wonderful
scientist
guy."
and all
Yeah,
that.
but a lot of people tell me that I should fire him. I mean, a lot of people say that. He goes on television, his ratings, they're not nearly as good as mine. He really bombs. I hear that he bombs. I don't know. I don't watch it, but a lot of people tell me that. But they just tell me that he bombs. So he's not very good at what he does. He's been around here a lot of time, and a lot of people tell me I should fire him. I don't know. Maybe I will. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but you know, the one
People
thing...
tell me I should, but I don't know if I should or not.
The one thing you're not throwing in there is his latest twist on this whole thing. He's incompetent. He's done nothing but he's caused hundreds of thousands of deaths. He's been terrible, but he's a nice guy, and I like him. What?
I know.
Is this the new warmer Trump? Yeah.
I don't know. He's the only person that I've ever seen who will tell you that someone that works for him
Mm-hmm.
is incompetent and terrible at their job, but I'm not going to do anything about it.
Well,
Yeah, I like him.
two
But do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's like the president of a company saying the executive vice president of the sales division is absolutely the worst person at his job I've ever seen. He's terrible. I hate this guy. Oh, no, we're not going to fire him. We just promoted him to, like, something else. I mean, he does that. I mean, it's just
Well,
like,
you know what? 2 weeks from tonight, the election will be over. And you know what happens 3 weeks from tonight? It's safe for Phil to call again.
I just saw him.
Did you really?
Yeah, our mutual friend had a car show. Our mutual friend's a big car guy.
Yeah.
And so we actually did a car show up in Discovery Bay. They did a car show in Discovery Bay. So actually it's pretty cool. A couple big top custom cars were there with mine. So yeah, so Phil went there before he went to work, and we walked around, talked, and we talked zero about politics.
Oh, good. And he didn't talk about the show at all.
No, I just asked him if he listened to the show. He said, yeah, here now and then. And yeah, I didn't ask any details.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's never been thrown off the show. He just decided
Yeah.
not to call. So, I have no control over who calls and who doesn't call. I only have control over what?
Yeah, and it's funny because I the car shows, I know, so there are two people there that I'm very close friends with the cars, and they both have deleted me, unfollowed me on Facebook. But they were there and blah, blah, blah. We talk about cars, we walk around and talk about other cars.
Mm-hmm.
And, I realized that, man, before all this stuff, these last 3 years, we never talk about politics. We always talk about our mutual interests. And, this has changed a lot this last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, what's that guy, the Republican who went Democrat, and he was really public about it. But
Yeah.
he talks about, we need to get back to, being, you're not friends with your family now. Your family's split up. Your friends are split up because of what's going on now.
Right.
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, but I'll just be glad when this whole thing is over. I don't know about you guys, but I'm so tired of it, and I'm so tired of the whole thing going on, and hopefully everything will be just fine, and we'll be back to life as normal. Hopefully, I just say hopefully because I have no idea, but I'm I hate to say this because I hate to put a onus on it or whatever, but I just don't see any way he's going to win. There's no path to winning. And then I was talking to Shecky today, and we were talking about the fact that I said to him, it's almost as though he wants to lose.
Yeah.
And I'm beginning to wonder if that isn't the case, that he really does want to lose.
Well, look, you can make more money unsuccessfully running for president for a long period of time than you can actually make being elected and serving as president.
Yeah.
I mean, former presidents make money. That's pretty decent fact, memoirs and so on and so forth.
Right.
So a former president like him who could openly, continually threaten to run again would make a lot more money than a normal former president.
Right.
By constantly being in that game. I mean, how much money did Sarah Palin make, for example? And she wouldn't be nearly as popular as he's going to be among his peoples.
Right.
So if there's one thing he needs, it's money. He doesn't have any money. We've seen the proof of that. I mean, I saw Steve Schmidt, who your Republican listeners used to think was the greatest guy ever and probably don't like now if they like Trump. He remarked earlier on MSNBC that he believes Trump is the first man to ever successfully bankrupt a political campaign because his political campaign is virtually insolvent at the moment. That's why they're pulling all their ad buys and everything else. They've spent $1 billion and they have no money.
Wow.
I mean, they have no money.
Yeah.
He basically said he's going to be the first guy in world history to spend $1 billion and make his personal situation worse.
And he inherited 400 million, and he's down $1 billion.
I mean,
God, how do you do that?
But the nice thing about the campaign, if you like spending money, is none of it was his money. People just give it to him. So it's a fucking great life, really, if you think about it.
Well, here's the
Fly
thing.
around, do what I want, which is say stupid shit. People love it. They give me money. They pay for it. It's fucking outstanding.
That's the thing is, even if he loses, are we going to have to listen to this idiot for how long? And he's going to keep saying, I had the greatest economy ever before this next administration came. And then we got to listen to him forever.
Just if you watch Fox or
OAN. I think the mainstream will go away from it, but Fox will continue to plug him.
Well, here's what Shecky and Shecky and I were saying, and it was that he it seems like he's really working on trying to lose the election, that he doesn't want to win it, because what happens the day after he loses? He announces the Trump News Network, right? And then And then I was watching, I can't remember, I think it was MSNBC, and somebody on there went, well, he doesn't really want to win. He wants to lose because the next day he'll start his news network and he'll make $1 billion.
Right.
You know,
Possible, yeah.
yeah. That's
I don't think so. I mean,
right. I don't know.
I think America hates a bullshit and liar, and above all hates a loser.
No. But you don't understand, Simon. That's your name tonight, John Larkin. That he. It isn't a matter that if he loses, he's gonna. Nobody wants to watch Trump have a television network. If he gets 40 million people who vote for him, there are 40 million people who are going to want to watch a Trump network.
Well, right. I mean, his core support of the electorate tends to be running somewhere around that 28 to 32% consistently of his diehard won't leave him no matter what type people.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty large part of the population. I mean, it's tens of millions. And you can make a lot of money.
Well, let me put it this way:
I guess, I don't know if he will.
Listen, if you're a news network and in prime time, you can get 4 million people. You're number one.
Right.
You
no,
know?
I mean I agree with what he's saying. Is I think when he's done, America will move on. But
America will move on.
I think he's right there. I mean that's right on the point. I think. I mean I think America will just almost like stop talking about it because it's embarrassing that you made that mistake. It's one of those things where you did it and you got away with it. And you're like, I ain't never fucking telling anybody I did that shit. I mean, like, I just keep that to myself or whatever. Like when you bump into something with your car or whatever and no one sees it and you're just like, yeah, fuck that. I'll just drive away. but I mean, but his people will not. I mean, that shit will go on for 4 or 5 more years before it flames out. I mean, I see it real similar to the Palin thing. I mean, she rolled around in a fucking pool of money, fooling people for a couple of years, and where the fuck's she at now? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. So, who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen with all of them? But I just think that he doesn't want to win. It's going to be better for him not to win than to win. Okay?
Yeah.
So
and I'm somewhere between, is that the truth? Or is he so fucking delusional that he just cannot accept the fact yet that he wants it so bad and he's just so blind to it that he just is just out of his mind? I don't know.
Well, he doesn't like losing. That's for damn sure. So
let's get one thing straight. He will never concede to losing. He will spin it that there were some unusual circumstances that caused it that he just could never correct.
Right. So I mean, we're not gonna be rid of him. Okay, he's gonna make himself continue to be present. And it's I don't know. It's just but it's 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks. I don't know about you, but I've got Trump fatigue, big time.
Oh, right.
I'm tired of talking about him. I'm tired of hearing him. I'm tired of.
He walked out on Leslie Stahl.
And he walked out on Leslie Stahl. Did you hear about this one?
Yeah.
Right. Part of his mistake, we've talked about this before, part of his mistakes is probably just doing things that just kept him. He couldn't just do his job. He's made himself all Trump all the time, which in some weird way must sexually gratify him. He probably jerks himself off to that because that's what people like that get off on.
Yeah.
But other people,
as long as he doesn't do it on a Zoom call like Jeffrey Toobin.
Yeah, I mean, but other people are put off by narcissists after a while. Like once they figure out that's what you are, they start to be like, man, this fucking guy drives me nuts. It's all about this motherfucker all the time. You know what I mean? Like, get this fucking guy out. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, part of his deal is he does things to ensure that he dominates the news all the time. But that's what you're saying. You're like, even even people that don't hate him the way we do are like, man, I am sick and tired of hearing about this.
I don't hate him.
Can someone just go to the White House and just get the fuck out of the way and work? Can we just, watch the cat stuck in the tree news again or something?
I watched tonight. They had a thing on they ran on First Ladies on CNN, the one they ran on Michelle Obama, and I watched that couple, and I went, God, I wish we had that back. Just some dignity in the White House, some decency, something just very positive and
some peace and quiet.
Peace and quiet, yeah. I mean, if you didn't hear about Obama for 2 weeks, that's because he didn't do anything that was screwing us up. And you didn't hear about him every day in the news.
No.
I think that since he was elected, I can't remember a day on this program the word Trump hasn't been said.
Yeah.
Even when we made a pledge that night that we weren't going to talk about Trump, somehow his name came up. And I think one of the things
let's assume he gets he's no longer president. He's going to still be on TV as much as he possibly can.
Something? I think
that's the only thing that he's ever done.
I think the press at this point hates him so much, and they have every reason to hate him. I mean, he constantly berated them. I mean, do you really expect a dog, if you keep whipping it, not to turn around and attack you?
That's what Fox TV is for.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that I think that once he's gone, the press is going to forget him and not mention a word about him. I think he's just not going to be newsworthy to them. He's not going to be important. And by the way, watch for the Republicans who run for the door, run for the exits on this.
They already are.
Some already are. Not a lot, but enough.
Yeah.
This guy, what's his name?
Sass. Yeah.
Woo. Boy.
Yeah, about time he spoke up and said something. He could have said something and voted to impeach him.
Yeah. I mean, the Republicans are going to pay, if he loses, if Trump loses, the Republicans are going to pay a heavy price. Because I don't think they're going to get the Senate. They're certainly not going to get the House. And they're not going to get the presidency. They are going to be living in hell. Okay? And they deserve it. They absolutely deserve it. And, there's a good chance Lindsey Graham will lose his seat where he is. And in his part of the country, to lose your seat in that part of the country is almost, if you're a Republican, is almost considered impossible.
Did anybody see that debate with McConnell and the lady that's running against him?
No.
He just sat there with this, she was just tearing him up a new asshole, and he's just sitting there giggling, he couldn't even answer. He just like, fuck.
Well, that's the way he wins, That's the way he wins. That's just
he's got that state all tied up with money or something.
Well, I mean, what is it? It's Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
Well, what do you expect?
Yeah.
I mean,
crazy.
All they got down there are rednecks and horses. So.
Hillbillies.
Oh, right. I mean, yeah, when you get outside of like the northern Kentucky, Cincinnati market and out of like Lexington, maybe Richmond, where Eastern Kentucky University is. I mean, when you get outside of a couple, Louisville, of course, a couple of those cities, and you get out 25, 30 miles and on out, it's just people. Look, I mean, it's middle-aged, white male families, I mean, shit like that. I mean, those are the kind of people that, it's like an area that I live in, basically. I mean, that's.
Well, on the panel tonight, we have at least one person who's voted so far, right, Charlie?
Yep.
I voted.
You voted too already up there, Jeff? Because we can't do it till Saturday. What is that?
I voted on my e-wheel.
What is that? We can't read it.
This came in my community WhatsApp group.
Oh,
and it's Trump at the window, and it shows, a million people behind him pumping blood and stuff into him, and he says, "Don't fear the virus."
Yeah. But it's I can. We're going to do it. We can do it Saturday. We may wait till next like Monday or something to do it. There's yours.
My stuff's here, and I'm trying to look at some of these, ballot measures, and you get those things in the mail, those big flyers.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm trying to get the ones that say yes on 22 and no on 22, and I'm trying to compare the two, and they all just say all this positive stuff. Get all the rich people, tax all the rich people, and then this one says something else about that, and it's like, well, I want both, but they don't say any of the negative stuff. So
yeah. Anyway, so I mean, it's going to be interesting. A lot of how many people have voted so far? Almost 30 million, something like that.
Over 30 million.
Over 30 million.
And there are other things going on in the world.
And they say that bodes well for the Democrats. Yes, John.
We had on Sunday we had a Proud Boys rally in Union's Plaza
Union Square.
UN Plaza
UN
in Market by the thing, and about 10 there was about 1 or 2 Proud Boys and about 10 Trump supporters and about 2,000 anti-Trumpers, and the cops literally had to surround all the Trump people to protect them.
there was and that was the second place they were supposed to do it somewhere else, I think at Dolores Park, and so the gays took that over and they had the dance party.
Yeah.
Marjorie said that she's worried about what's going to happen if Trump doesn't win, and what it's going to be like out there, because the people who are on his side have guns.
Well, there's going to be a lot of civil disobedience, and then there's going to be a war with Israel, and then God will intervene and smite all them anti-Trump people down, and some other stuff after that. And I know that because I watched the 700 Club with Pat Robertson, and that's what he said today.
Did he say that today?
I got alive programs, and I was high enough today that I dialed up the 700 Club, and now I'm feeling light.
We used to have a theme around here for him. Wait a minute, hold on a second.
I'm glad you gave us a source.
A lot of people say, what's that? It's
Yeah.
Pat. Here comes Pat.
And then we would always play one of his diatribes, but I don't play him anymore because he's so old that you can barely understand a word he says. I mean, I'm surprised he's still alive. Yes, Bree.
Well, he's alive.
I got another quote that came in my WhatsApp group I thought was funny. It says, the vaccine should be tested on politicians first. If they survive, the vaccine is safe. If they don't, then the country is safe.
Yeah. By the way, guess who I talked to the other day?
Will Durst.
Will Durst. Yeah, you heard it. I talked about it on the Monday show, which I'm not doing a Monday show next week because I have an eye doctor appointment. Anyway, I talked to Will Durst, and he's of course still laid up in bed, and he's still got one leg that doesn't work and a hand that's starting to work again. You know the whole thing that goes on, right, Jeff? Because you went through it yourself years and years ago. But it was so good to hear that he still could talk very well, still had his timing, and still was funny. And I'm going to have Debbie on next week to talk some more about it. But I'm going to call him like every 2 or 3 days and talk to him. He's not going. He's not going anywhere. What?
Can he write?
No. Not with his right hand. I think his left he can. He can't type. That's what I heard. I told Debbie. I said, he could dictate.
That's the way I do it.
A lot of good dictation things. I dictate all my texts, and then you'd have somebody go in and correct all the mistakes, because text is, spoken isn't perfect. But he didn't want to do that. He loves the ability to sit at a typewriter and work it out that way. And so But he, he said it's just terrible. I said, what? He said that it was this year I had to have a stroke, when there was just this wealth of comedy material. And I haven't been able to perform it or do it or comment on it or whatever. And I said, yeah, but let's say you didn't have the stroke. You still wouldn't have a place to do it because of COVID. There were no clubs. He could still write and stuff like that. But he was just really funny, really funny. He pulled a joke which wasn't his, but it just slayed me. We were talking about, if somebody brought him a choice for his lunch and 2 different plates, and he said, which one would you have? And I said, I'd have the chicken. So he ordered the chicken. And then he said, it reminds me of a joke. A waiter comes up and says to a guy, what do you want for dinner? He says, well, I have a baked potato and I'll have a steak, please. And he says, and your vegetable? He says, oh, he's not eating. Anyway, I thought it was very funny, especially considering the situation. But anyway, I just want to let you know, if I just did audio with him, he's the same old Durst. Okay?
Yeah, then just do audio.
Well, it's not what he's done all his life, Bree. He's gone on a stage and he's done one-man shows and he's talked to people and he's pontificated and, doing audio is just not the same for a guy like him. For me, doing this is not what's natural for me. What's natural for me is sitting in front of a mic and doing a radio show, so. But anyway.
Sometimes you gotta try other things.
What?
Sometimes you gotta try other things.
Yep. What you do is you adapt.
Yeah.
And he's still funny and he's still got it. And I was so happy to be able to talk to him. And I'm going to call him every couple of days. And he's got a lot of time on his hands. Yes, Jeff, because you went through this.
Yeah, the other thing that he might need is a thing called the Watchman, which is a surgical device.
Really? What is that?
Apparently, it prevents people from having a second stroke.
I'm sure they've done whatever they can. They had to drill.
Yeah, it's a little too early for him to do that.
They had to drill holes in his head.
Yeah.
Because he got an infection and he had pressure on the brain and things like that. Did they have to do that with you?
Oh yeah.
Really? So then, did your wife say to you, "What do you got? A hole in your head?"
I actually have like a slot.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Does it heal up, or you still have a little dent there?
Not 100%.
Really?
You can feel it. I can feel it.
Yeah. How long did it take you to get back to some normalcy after having it? A year?
And that was really stretching it, because I had a company and I had, a whole bunch of people working for me, and they were like trying to do everything themselves without me.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I was the principal sales guy for the company.
Yeah.
And my very good friend was, the vice president. He was running things, and he's a very nice person, but he was not a sales guy. So I said, Bill,
Yeah.
guess what we're going to do tomorrow? He goes, what's that? I says, we're going to go see our customers tomorrow, and let's set it up so we visit every single one in the same company. And we went and walked through the whole thing and talked to, like 15 people. And then we get in a car and Bill says, well, I guess nobody really needs us right now. 10 minutes later, one of the customers calls up and says, yeah, we do have a project that we'd like you to work on. And that was,
How old were you when you had the stroke?
Good question. Probably 65,
65, and so that wasn't so long ago, was it?
maybe younger. It was in the 60s.
Yeah, but I mean, how many years has it been since the stroke? Do you know?
Over 10 years.
Over 10 years. Okay. Because he said, and we've talked about it here, that getting over this sort of thing, he could be doing a tap dance in a year, or he could never get his legs going again. You know, there's no telling. It's just really freakish, isn't it? Like to this day, you say you have trouble reading, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reading is, I can read word by word.
But you can't like just look at it and go blah blah blah.
Just can't go through a whole book. I listen to them audio.
That must be kind of a weird feeling to one day be able to read and the next day you can't read. You know. And it affected your speech a little bit, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But normally talking to you on the show, we would never know you had a stroke.
I know, but don't ask me tough questions.
Okay. What's Einstein's theory of relativity?
Yeah, that's right. Talk to my cousin Einstein.
Your cousin Einstein. Let me see here. So this week we get the Thursday is the vote for the Supreme Court justice. Josh?
That sounds right.
Yeah, Thursday. Yeah. I'm glad they've taken their time to do this. Thought the whole process out. It was really considerate of them.
Thursday is the debate too, right?
Thursday is the debate, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, at night.
They say they're going to cut off the mics at 2 minutes. I don't know if that's true. They said they're going to cut off the mics at 2 minutes.
Yeah, and when the other guy is on, well, I mean, and Trump doesn't want him to do that.
Yeah, he's going to keep speaking. What's going to stop him?
That's right. Who's going to stop him?
Yeah, he's going to keep speaking.
He'll run over to her microphone. He'll go over to Biden's microphone and start yelling into it.
You can get like a little taser or something.
Well, no, what I suggested, I think it was the other night, is that we do what they do on Nickelodeon with those award shows. When his time is up, if he keeps going, you slime him.
That would be all right.
You just dump a whole bunch of slime all over him and see. But that probably wouldn't shut him up either.
No.
That's true.
Because
would see his bald head, though.
His hair would soak it all up and none of it would get his eye.
Oh man, God, what fun times we live in. You know what I just don't get? And Cuomo did a whole bit on it. By the way, Cuomo has a thing out called the COVID Dictionary. And if you get a chance, go on to YouTube, the bit where he reads it. My favorite one was, there were these various terms, and some of them were real and some of them weren't. And the one that wasn't real was Blur's Day, which is the new day for every day that you feel during COVID when you're sitting at home and can't figure out what day it is. It's Blur's Day. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was cool.
We're going back into lockdown starting tomorrow. So that's why I'm in the office to get a few items. And
when they say lockdown, they mean lockdown, right?
Yeah, like we were in back in February, March, April.
Yeah.
So this particular state that I'm in has seen just a.
He's in. By the way, for people who've never seen Bree before on this show or never seen this show, he is in Kuala Lumpur. If you don't know where that is, go buy a map. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm in the state of Selangor, and we've had a lot of increases. So they told us today is the last day to come into the office and pick stuff up, and we'll probably be back in lockdown till the end of the year. So that's how it's going here. And they say, I read a report that India, it's funny that again, this same as in the beginning of this whole thing where you read two different headlines. One said India sees the lowest daily rate of infection. Mm-hmm. Then the next headline is experts predict half of India will have COVID by February. So, just it's just crazy. We still don't have any idea what's going on.
I'm trying to find it here. Let me see if I can find it. They put up he put up a list of all the areas. Well, let me see if this goes there. No, that's not it. Okay. Wait a minute. Maybe that is it. He put up a list.
We have far more restrictions here. I still see stuff back in the States about people going out to dinner, talking about trick-or-treating, and people going places. It just boggles my mind. Like, I just don't understand it. People talking about going on vacation and flying somewhere, and it's like, what is? Maybe we're in the bubble here, but the deal is that you got to stay in. We're still not clear of this thing.
Okay, here's the list that he put up. The positivity rate in states. New York is now third from the bottom because we've gone up a little bit. We're at 1.17% positivity rate, which is nothing, okay? I mean, nothing would be zero, okay, but it's nothing. The other two states, what do you think the other two lowest states are? Any guesses? They're close to each other. I'll give you a clue about that one. Least infected state in the United States is Maine with 0.36%. And Massachusetts with 1.14%. We many times have been below that. Do you know what the number one state is?
North Dakota.
No.
South Dakota.
New Jersey.
South Dakota.
I'm surprised at this.
What is it?
Nevada. Do you know what their positivity rate is in Nevada? 45.97%. It's in almost one out of every two people tested has COVID.
Holy shit.
Of course, there are only 3 people in the state, but that's another.
Yeah, it's more
South
than-
Dakota's number 2 with 37.19%. Idaho 28.69. Let's see here. Where are you? Let's see here. Where are you? Well, Bree, I can't go there. In California, Charlie, Texas. Let's see if we can find Texas. Texas is only at 7.06%. Okay, that's not bad. I mean, it's bad, but it's not terrible. But you got Wyoming is at 21, Iowa at 20, Kansas at 19, Nebraska at 18. All these states that never even had a problem now are just unbelievably infected.
They must. I mean, I think that's obviously because they don't put hardly any measures in place, and their populations, the vast majority of them, all tend to live in these small clustered areas together. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you live in South Dakota, around population, you're in like Rapid City or in Sioux Falls, and then like everything in between is wide open, nothing, and then a lot more nothing. And it's just like 4 or 5 population centers. They all live really close to each other, and they chose not to put any kind of measures in place. They didn't scale down on their restaurants. They didn't close any schools. They didn't, they didn't really hardly do anything. I mean, you've seen South Dakota's governor on television. Fuck, she's proud of that number you just read. She thinks that's fucking great. Nebraska.
So when you get down to us, and we've only got 1.17%, it's pretty good.
And your people live on top of each other.
Oh,
even worse than those people.
Oh, this is
right.
This is an infection waiting to happen this time.
Yeah, I mean, so that's good work.
Oh no, we worked hard at it, but it's going to go up because winter is here, and also, but the thing that got me, and I see this all the time on TV because they interview people and go, well, so how do you feel about COVID and so on? Oh, I'm not wearing a mask. I don't like wearing a mask. It's my constitutional right not to wear a mask. Really? what is that, the 19th or 20th Amendment? What amendment is that to the Constitution? What do you mean it's your right, right? It's not a right of free speech or anything like that. My right is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and life is the first one. And if you kill me because of your inconsideration, you're violating the most basic right that I have. You know, so just leave me alone with that. But I mean, it's just amazing the people who won't wear masks because, Trump's percentage. Did you hear his percentage the other night? That 80% or 88%. He was very specific. 88% of all people who wear masks get COVID.
Yeah, yeah, and there was some guy.
Stop doing that, Bree. It's making a lot of noise.
Some mayor was on TV saying that said, "Well, masks don't do any good anyway. They don't prevent the virus from spreading."
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that's what they're talking about that on Fox now.
They said that if you wear a mask, your chances of getting COVID are less than 1%. Pretty
They're
good.
using data. They're using farts as data. Say you fart, you smell it. How can that stop the virus?
You know, I've heard that you lose if you get COVID, you lose your sense of smell and taste. Is one of the symptoms of getting COVID. So every time Marjorie farts in bed, I consider that my COVID test, and I just mail it into the city and let them know I don't have it. Yeah.
Yeah, tell that joke on Monday when she's on the show. See what happens.
Oh no, I think I pulled it to her when we were doing stuff. Yeah, but
they say there's like over 500 kids. They say there's like over 500 kids that they can't find their parents from all the stuff that Trump took. You know,
Kids at the border.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ivanka's got a plan for that.
Well, you know, I mean, but you've got all these states that have got these. I mean, especially these states that never had a problem until now are like exploding. Okay, Texas is actually getting better, isn't it, Charlie?
No.
Oh, okay. California's getting better,
We
isn't
don't
it,
test
Brian?
anybody. The only reason our number is so low is because we don't test anybody.
Well, don't you know if you don't test them, you don't have it?
I can't get a test to save my life.
Would you like to have a test?
I'd go in for a test tomorrow if they would let me have it, but I haven't had contact with anybody that's had COVID, so they won't let me have a test.
Well, is this a pretty good assumption? I haven't had a test because Marjorie's had to have 2 of them so far because her doctors made her take them before they do something for her, okay? And then she's come back negative both times. So I imagine by virtue of that, I've got to be negative too. I don't think there's any way you could be in the same household with somebody and you get it and she doesn't get it. Am I right, Brian?
You're kissing her, you're doing all that stuff. So yeah.
I never kiss her. What are you talking about? Come on, I'm married to her. I don't kiss her.
I was surprised malaria got it because malaria, they don't sleep together or anything. I don't know how she got it. They're never together. Except
She was hugging people in the rose garden, for crying out loud.
Yeah, that's probably how she got it.
Well, in Yiwu, China, for $60, you can get the vaccine.
For how much?
$60.
What vaccine is that?
The BBC reported it that in Yiwu, China, that the government has approved a vaccine, and you can buy it for $60.
Really?
Yeah, but which vaccine? There's like 4 different companies working on it.
I don't know. I just saw it on BBC.
Well, you know, there's a new thing they're doing. They're testing in England. They're giving people COVID, but they're giving them a vaccine first, and then they're giving them the COVID shot with COVID
That's
in it
one way to test for it.
to see if it works. And, you know, they're doing it basically on younger people who could survive it if they came down with it, you know. And I guess that's one way of testing it.
It's a good therapy.
Well, you remember what was it? You remember this, don't you, Josh? That when they were testing stuff on blacks, like giving them syphilis and things like that.
Yeah, that's been done before.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of that operation, but
Tuskegee,
whatever,
something or other, yeah.
whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's been done.
Yeah, it was pretty ugly. Pretty ugly, you know.
Well, I mean, they're just blacks.
Yeah.
It's only 3/5 of a person. Hey.
Yeah, you don't have to report as many deaths, right? Yeah, it's 3/5 of a person.
I mean, you know, fucking pricks ended slavery. We didn't need them anymore.
Yeah, what good are they if they aren't slaves, right?
We had to do what we had to do.
Yeah. But it's just amazing to me, these people who just, you know, I hate wearing a mask. How many people here love wearing a mask?
It's right.
No. You know, I
mean,
don't like.
it's just required.
Anybody need a mask?
Well, why don't you deal them out there? I've got one lying back here. Here we go. Here's mine. I keep this in the studio. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why I have mine.
You know, Fox News. I was watching it tonight. They had these two doctors on they're still promoting hydroxychloroquine.
Chloroquine, yeah.
Yeah.
Or what? I'm like, I thought they're still on that shit.
You know,
what is that?
Actually, this isn't a bad idea. I probably could get laid more often at my age if I wore this all the time.
And sunglasses.
Yeah, no, babe, I'm 63. No, yeah, right. I mean, do I
put some sunglasses on?
Do I look as old as I normally look with this on? No. That's pretty cool.
Gotta put the hat down a little more.
Oh.
There you go. Oh my God, you look like you're 30.
Put dark glasses on, I could be like the Unabomber, you know. Anyway, but nobody likes wearing these. I mean, you walk with them, you get short of breath because you got a lot of carbon dioxide coming back at you. But I don't do this for me. I do it for the other person, and the other person should do it for me. And when I see a person not wearing them, I get mad because I'm saying you're disrespecting me, you know, and that's what it's all about, and why we can't, as a nation, go, oh, okay, well, we'll all wear masks. That way we can kill this thing. They actually say that if everybody in America wore a mask, we could probably kill this in a month.
Yep.
If everybody did it. Because, you know, if it has no place to go, it's going to die on its own.
Harry, which places did you...
What? What were you asking, Jeff?
I think he's talking to his wife.
Oh.
No, I was asking whether or not Pam had actually, when she was in the medical factory, whether or not she wore stuff on her face every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's not.
Well, I mean,
whenever we did animal studies, we started doing them that way.
I don't know.
In Australia,
Yeah.
they were very, very tough.
I don't know how hospital workers wear those masks all day long.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's rough enough for me if I'm taking a walk to have it on for like a half hour. Although if I'm walking down the street and I don't see anybody coming towards me or on either side of me, I'll lower it so I can breathe, you know. But huh?
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah, we wear those in the clean rooms when we're building the product, and they have the mask on. They have glasses, protective glasses, because we have some lasers in there, and they're all gowned up. They have the hair bonnet, they have the gown, and when I was running manufacturing, I would take audits in there, and the auditors would go in, and they're like, by the time we get out in the gown room, they go, I said, yeah, people get a lot more respect from my workers when they know that they're in there for 2 hours at a time, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I wonder.
Back surgeries took 7.5 hours.
I wonder how dating. I wonder how dating has been affected by mask wearing. Because you can see somebody and go, "Hey, she looks hot. Oh, what beautiful eyes she has." Yeah. And then she takes the mask off, and you go screaming and running for the door. I mean, I wonder how it's changed dating in that respect.
COVID and all, how did that change dating?
I mean, is there any dating? I mean, who I guess.
Well, you know where we have a hint in the past on how something affected dating. How about when AIDS was hitting big time?
Yeah.
You know, that kind of changed dating habits too. You know, so you know, this is. I think. Do you think this has changed us in the long term? I mean, that this kind of behavior we're going through now is going to continue even when we have a vaccine?
Absolutely,
Or are
yeah.
people just going to go, whoop-de-doo, I'm now going to breathe in everybody's face?
No, this is the way it is now.
In other words, you think masks are going to become very common?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They are in Asia.
Well, they always were in Asia. If you got a cold in Asia,
Yeah.
okay, you wore a mask.
Right? They wear masks all the time, summertime, everything. When I go to Vietnam 3 times, they've always wearing masks. I mean, Bree knows, right? Bree?
Yep.
Well, during
it's not a big deal.
But it's during. Is it during a flu season when they do it, or do they do it just all the time?
Summertime, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have a lot of creative masks. I mean, you can get any mask you want with any logo.
Yeah,
pretty
well,
much.
I'm just thinking that, yeah. Somebody wrote here, poor Marjorie has to live with Alex. Yes, yes, she does. And then Peter Arno writes, Russia has a vaccine and they're giving out widely. It hasn't passed an FDA-type test for safety and efficacy. Maybe people can buy it on the gray or black market in other countries.
I'll wait.
I'm not going to try. I mean, how many of you would try the vaccine if it came out tomorrow and the FDA said it's all clear? No?
I would, yeah, if they said it was all good.
Really? Okay.
If they said, I mean, if Fauci and all the
Well, the trouble is, though, that Trump has created such an atmosphere of distrust over all of this that people are afraid of doing it for that exact reason you mentioned, is that they don't know that it's for real if they're really right about it. Plus, there's another factor. Any vaccine we have coming down the pipe is only 50% effective, and you have to have 2 shots. You have to go back a month later and get the second shot. So availability is not going to be terrific. I mean, Trump talks about, we have 2 million doses that we had made up. So that's 1 million people are going to be able to get it. How many people are in this country?
330 million.
And he's lying. He said the other day at the seniors.
Wait a minute. He lied?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
So he was telling the seniors, you guys are going to be first. I'm thinking of you and you're going to be first. And that's not true. We've had meetings and they talk about, because we're helping some people with vaccines. They use our instruments to test for the vaccines. But yeah, they're talking about how first responders, there's certain protocols they're going through. And the seniors aren't there for, they're like 5th or 6th of the groups down the line. But he's saying, you guys are first with us.
Well, I
you guys
think
are going to get the vaccine before anybody.
But who's going to be the last? The last is probably going to be kids, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
With their beautiful immune systems.
With their beautiful immune systems, right?
Remember when Ford got the shot in the 70s?
Mm-hmm.
That vaccine killed a lot of people.
Really? Which vaccine was that?
It was some really bad flu. I think it was H1 something or another. But remember, he got the shot on TV, and it was a big deal. But everybody got inoculated. It was like in '76, and then it turned out a lot of people died from that. It was dangerous. For sure.
By the way, this flashed just in on our chat room here from wait a minute, Kevin's calling here. I hope he didn't have to wait too long. Tony writes, TV is not showing the Charlie Brown Halloween special.
Oh God.
Bad day for him. How long were you waiting, Kevin? Because I just saw you there.
Just a minute.
Oh, okay, good. Because
So why aren't they showing the Charlie Brown?
I have
Hollywood?
no idea, but don't ask, because then he'll call and bemoan it.
It's un-American.
It's un-American, exactly. Because Charlie Brown has COVID. Well, I bet the reason they're not showing it is because they don't want you to trick or treat this year.
I think that's why.
Huh? What'd you say, Charlie?
I think that's why.
Really? Okay.
There are still people planning to trick or treat.
Of course.
Really?
I'm gonna throw the candy at them down the street.
Yes, Jeff.
Not in my
Near us, we have a rule that says you put the candy outside
That'll last them.
and you
I
let
saw-
the kids take it, but we don't touch it.
I saw some guy who at his house put in he had like a what do you call it, a banister, right, leading up steps to his house,
Yeah.
and he put in a tube.
Yeah.
And what he's going to do is
Yeah,
just shoot
big
this
carpet
stuff
tube.
down the tube to the kids.
PVC piping, and a little J at the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoots down and comes up.
Yeah, yeah,
Good idea.
which is very cool. But
I got a t-shirt shooter and shoot it at him.
But everybody, I mean, come on, folks. If we all just got together and went after this thing, we could stop it, and it dead in its tracks. And we're not doing it because we are selfish fucks. That's what our problem is. It's every man for himself, But anyway, excuse me, I gotta blow my nose. Anybody mind if I blow my nose? I'll turn off my microphone when I do it.
Put on my
Hey,
mask.
we're getting closer to you guys, Brian. We gained another 2,000 cases on California today.
Oh my God.
Every day we 2 or 3,000 closer.
Yeah, but just remember, California's still getting it.
Yeah, but we're
Yeah.
getting it more.
Good.
Yeah, and my
I
friends
think that
have
this will be endemic. You know,
my
I've
friends
always
have
said that.
What?
my friends have salons and stuff like that, and these guys are just like, they're not going to be open much longer.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Well, I mean, a lot of businesses are having trouble. Our governor is opening movie theaters up in the northern part of the state, but he's doing it. You can only have 25% occupancy, or 50 per screen, whichever is the more, or whichever is less, something like that. I don't know about you, but I don't care if the governor could open it up and say only 10% could be in there. I'm not going into a goddamn
going
movie
either.
theater. I mean, come
They're
on.
opening up bars here in the city, but in San Francisco, but they're not allowed to have TVs on because they don't want people screaming at the TVs, with sports and, but you can only have, I think, like 25% occupancy.
My question is, and I guess as a non-drinker, I have to ask this question: why do we make an exception for bars? I mean, what are we doing? Oh well, I'm sorry, we don't want you to get COVID, but on the other hand, we don't want to stop you from being alcoholics. We don't want to do anything to impinge on that.
Yeah.
You got to eat food though. They have to serve food.
They have to, here in New York, they have to serve food.
Yeah, it can't be just alcohol.
Yeah. But they serve what, a sandwich or something like that,
Yeah.
or beef
Yeah,
jerky, or
Nachos, hot dogs, or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a biker
No
bar down
restrictions
here.
like that in
That,
Texas.
What?
So no restrictions like that in Texas.
Yeah. Kevin?
I said they got a biker bar down here that did that, and they kept opening up, and Whiskey Creek, and they kept opening up, and they'd serve a hot dog or something and call it a
Restaurant.
a restaurant, yeah, or a bag of popcorn or some shit.
But I seem to remember when I was a kid having places where there were bars, and they just served alcohol. But maybe I wasn't looking closely. Maybe they also were serving like chili or something like that, so it constituted food.
Yeah, they didn't let him get away with it though.
Have pretzels.
Pretzels, yeah.
Yep, bag of pretzels or a Slim Jim or something.
Yeah. So here we go, crawling towards the election, and unless unless Biden loses his cool, which I don't think he's capable of doing, I think if he just plays it close to his vest, he's winning this one. How about you? How about you, Bree? How are you feeling? What's your latest odds? Because you know the odds with the odds
popular vote, definitely Biden. Popular vote.
They say he's got the electoral locked up too.
No, you know, when I looked at that, I saw it with the guy on CNN. He had the blue, you know, for Biden and the red for Trump.
Yeah.
And then what they in this day they said, okay, Biden's got it, 290 something. Then they flashed back, same time, Hillary Clinton. They projected her 307. So they were actually
the only difference, Bree. The only difference was that when they made those predictions, there were certain assumptions being made that aren't being made easily now because we've learned better from the last election. So you can't use that election as a weather vane for what's going on here. You can't say, "Oh, she was the same." Blah blah blah.
Well,
no, but they had a different metric going.
I think you can use it from the standpoint that we learned that everything is not cut and dried. Everything is not, you know, you can't, in other words, you can't go by all the polls and the predictions. I think that's 2016 taught us to be a little more careful with our projections.
Cut to the chase. If you had $100 you had to put down, where would you put it?
I wouldn't be putting it down.
No, but where would you put it if you had to?
I'm just not sure right now.
Really?
But I'll let you know.
I'd bet on Biden.
Because I think that on the night of the election, it could appear that Trump has won, and then it'll be you know, how many places do we count the ballots, the mail-in ballots?
Yeah. Hey, you know something? Look at what we got there. You see Adrian? When we see Adrian, we know the show is over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Adrian. How are you tonight? The last couple of times she's been really shy.
She always wants to be on the show to say goodnight, and then she's shy.
No, you know something? She's acting like a woman.
Princess,
coy, standoffish,
Yeah.
Doesn't want to seem like she wants to be there, but what's that?
That's the show.
Oh, that's the show now?
That's the show, yeah.
Oh.
On YouTube.
Yeah. She's
okay, say goodnight.
She's also our spokesmodel on the show as well.
You want your own show? Tell Alex you want your own show on here. No. Look at your Roblox people.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Josh. Good seeing you here. Brian, thank you very much. Adrian, very nice to see you again tonight. Thank you for dropping by. Yeah, that's what most women do with me. They hide themselves. Thank you, John Larkin. Thank you to Charlie Walker. And thank you to, what is that? Oh, that's Madonna wearing a mask. Or no, that's Marilyn wearing a mask. The Andy Warhol painting of Marilyn. Thank you very much there in Kuala Lumpur. Bree, okay? That's it for tonight. Yeah, that's it. Everybody wave goodbye, and we'll wave goodbye at you. And then we will fade to me. Okay, there we are. Here I am. There we go. Anyway, that's it. That's our panel for tonight. Tomorrow night, 8:30. By the way, we have a sports show with the franchise MC. If you've never heard it, they're pretty good, and it's coming from somebody who knows nothing about sports. Anyway, they'll be here, and then I'll be here at 10:30, same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, if you see her, Tell her I love her. And by the way, stay safe out there and do your fellow person a favor and wear a goddamn mask, will ya? Good night.